I don't know how to start this video out, folks, because I never, or rarely ever, maybe a couple times in our whole YouTube's career, started a video mid-diagnosis, mid-diagnostic process. But we need this to be a lesson, a lesson to me, to not base your diagnosis off pattern failures that cost you time. And that's exactly what happened. So let me give you the story on this truck. I'm sitting inside the 2019, it's the F350. It's got the big 6.2, four-wheel drive, crew cab, long box, and it's a town truck. And what that means is it's used by a township, a municipality, if you will. So it has extra added on stuff, radio and lights and, you know, things like that that they splice into, well, whatever they can get a hold of. So keep that in mind. Don't let it dictate your diagnosis, but just keep it in mind. The customer complaint on this was, I'll give you the whole history. Initially, for several months now, the trailer brake control module message has been coming up on a dash. You know, trailer connected, trailer disconnected, with no trailer behind the vehicle. You know, just doing some funky stuff. Step on the brakes, it would say, you know, check trailer connection, things like that. They ignored it, kept driving it, because that seemed to be the only symptom. And then all of a sudden, they go to shut the truck off one day, you know, it's months later. Well, now the headlights stay on. Can't shut the headlights off. No matter what you do, can't turn it off unless you unhook the battery. So they were doing that for a while, unhooking the battery, and then maybe through process of elimination or the internet, they discovered they could remove one of the fuses under the hood, fuse 54. That was pulled out, or maybe it was 45. One of the fuses was removed when it came in. And so they've been driving it like that for a while, so the lights wouldn't stay on. So I put the fuse back in, headlights seemed to work normal at that point. So yeah, it was trailer module acting up, and then the headlight symptom, and then I think the reason they ended up finally, you know, taking it to a shop to get fixed is because the heater quit working. And well, you can't drive around here without heater because your windshield's frozen. So that's what Ford refers to as the front control interface module, the FCIM. We call it an HVAC module. That quit working, and then that's it. We got to get this thing fixed. We can't use the truck. No heat, no blower, no nothing. You know, no hot, no cold, no nothing. Radio seems to work. Driver's door windows go up and down, but the passenger side window doesn't work. Now, they didn't say anything about that, but that's something that I noticed, and I believe that's going to be relevant. And here's where I got myself way out into the weeds. This is a common symptom, and the common repair is back on the connector on the right hand side of the hitch, and the wiring that runs above the spare tire is always green and pussy, and the connectors are full of water, and it causes the symptoms on the medium speed network, the MS-CAN network. And without diagnosing and without looking, I had a truck over in my bay, you know, and this is a big long truck, and where it was on a lift, can't really open the doors. You know what, it is what it always is. So I crawl underneath the truck, and this thing is just caked with mud. Looks like it's been oil sprayed a bunch. And I mean, these connectors are just, you can't even see them. So I'm under there with a blow nozzle. I'm completely covered in, you know, grease and dirt and mud and salt, and it's dripping on me. Pop the connector apart, it's clean as a whip. Like, frig. Look at the other ones back there. I spend a bunch of time looking at the wiring up above the spare tire without taking it down, you know, the mirror and glasses, and I'm under there and wasted way too much time and didn't see anything obvious. So there, I'm here to hit the big fat reset button, bring you guys along and do this properly. I'm sorry that we don't have the whole gamut of, you know, start to finish. You guys wouldn't want to see that mess anyways, because I was just more upset with myself looking for that low-hanging fruit, and it just wasn't there. Or maybe the problem is there and I just didn't see it because it's under the tape or something. I don't get too carried away, because usually it's pretty obvious. At any rate, all that to say, where I am at right now is we have no communication with passenger door module. We have no communication with the front control interface module. We have no communication with body control module B, which is another frustrating topic. So HVAC, passenger door, body module B. Those are the three modules we can't talk to. In order to do any network diagnosing, you have to have a roadmap. And and we have to have a roadmap to come up with some logic as well. And this is where I'm at. So Fords are a little difficult because you have a gateway module, which is your data link connector. So we can't do like network resistance checks right from the data link connector. It doesn't work. It's just how they're wired. The modules we're having problems with is this right here, body control module B, aka the auxiliary lamp module, or the ALCM, or whatever acronym Ford wants to use. It pisses me off to no end that they just don't use the same acronym, and it gets very, very frustrating. So body control module B does not work. Front control interface module does not work. We can't communicate with it, and we can't communicate with this passenger door module. Now they all run on this medium speed CAN here, so everything here, but we can talk to the trailer module, we can talk to the driver's door module. So that's, you know, that's kind of peculiar. Now we still may have a problem, you know, back here under that rear bumper and stuff, but we need to come up with a process here. And I was looking to see, you know, we need to find out if the physical layer is good. Is the wiring good? Looked up in service info, we have a resistor in the central gateway module, 120 ohm resistor there, and we also have a 120 ohm resistor in the front control interface module. Now, to be perfectly transparent, I popped the front control interface module out of it because we need to be able to tap into this network somewhere and see what it looks like. Now I hooked my little U-scope up, and it don't look good. It looks like a sawtooth pattern. Okay, that's the easiest way to explain it. So, okay, well that's weird. How can we have that on just one leg of the network? This is a trunk and branch style network, and it's not affecting the driver door module or the trailer brake module, what do they call it? Yeah, trailer module, TRM, trailer module. So what I want to do now is, because I got the front control interface module, I've got a regular voltmeter in there, and we want to check to see our network resistance, because we know the front control module has a 120 ohm resistor in it, and we know that the gateway has 120 ohm resistor in it. They're hooked parallel, so it should be 60 ohms when all the wires are all hooked up. Okay, pretty standard network stuff. So that's where I'm at. And I know the network signal doesn't look good. I know the two other modules we can talk to. I think we've got probably, you know, a connector or something going funky that's not affecting the whole network, and that's what bothers me, and I'm curious to see if it's, you know, open circuited or whatever. And then depending on what we get for readings there, then we'll determine our next step. And this is what I should have done from the beginning, but I just didn't. And it cost time. And I mostly didn't want to do this stuff because they've got, you know, their radios, everything else in here. It just makes doing a normal task inconvenient, because the upfitters that put this crap in here don't have any forward thought on future repairs. So anyhow, that's enough about that. I won't say anymore. So here we have our voltmeter. I've removed this connector and then pulled the housing off from it. It just slides out housing. Pretty neat how they made this, if I'm being honest. I like how Ford did that. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. Looked on a diagram, get our glasses. Pin 1 and pin 2 right here. So here's our medium speed CAN networks going into it. Now this is not like GM. This doesn't make a loop. It doesn't go in and then come back out. Like I say, it's a trunk and branch. You got your trunk and then all the network branches off from it, if that makes sense. Lots of splices and connectors and stuff. When I tapped into this, I have the battery disconnected now because I knew we were going to do our resistance check. When I tapped into this, neither one of these legs was looking too healthy on the old scope. We're very carefully going to plug that back in, get that line back up. Okay, let's get our meter fired up here. And with this plugged in, we should have 60 ohms. All right, we've got our ohm meter. Try to set that where everybody's happy. Are you happy? Can you see it? Okay, so let's plug in here. And we'll see what we have, and then we'll go one direction or the other if we can. if it's not correct. Oh, so 110 ohms. Battery's disconnected, scan tool is unplugged, that's important. Okay, so our physical layer is broken. Let's unplug this, see which side. That side, that's 5,900. So 5.95 kiloohms. Okay, so the 100 and whatever we were just reading here, let me just get my bearings here. Let me make sure I'm not. Okay, 110 there. So that must be just our module, because as stated, this module houses the other resistor. Let me get over here. Oops. Oh, what happened there? Okay, so we should have 120 ohms here. If I can do this very gently. There we are, 120.3. Okay, so front control interface module resistor is good. Something is broke down in the physical layer from here out. Now, let's leave this connector tore apart. Let's look on a wiring diagram and see what's the next best step to take. We know we have something going on in the physical layers, the actual wiring, heading back towards the gateway module, which is the data link connector. You know what, let me take, I haven't looked under the dash, but maybe take a peek under there and make sure this thing doesn't have some stupid add-on, something or other. But then we need to come up with our next option here. 120 there, front control module. Okay, wiring comes out, goes up and over, round and round and round and round. Here's our other resistor. Easiest connector to get to right now is going to be this one, this 263. I popped the little threshold off here. Lots of look at that. Free wrench. Is that snap on? Oh, that's the icon. Lots of standing water in the harness. Don't want to go wiggling too much right now, but it's one of these two connectors here. And if we break that down, probably doesn't have either one of those modules, it's going to go straight. It's, you know, we're going to be able to test the network resistor in this gateway module, which I assume is going to be good. Pin 14 and 15. Let's just check that. Well, this one has our colors. Oh, 14, 15 right there. Gray, orange, purple, orange, violet, orange. I assume going that way is going up. All right, can you guys see? There, now you can, 14, 15. Going this direction should be going towards the gateway module there. Come on, you figure. We might still end up at the back of the truck. Okay, 120 ohms going that direction. Okay, so both our terminating resistors are good. Our network is good from here to there, and well, still broke. All right, what do we have? Let's see if that plugs in like that. So it's got to be these two here. Our front control module is still plugged in. 7,000 and some change. 7.2 kiloohms, we'll call it. Going the other way. Okay, so still broke. Okay, where can we break down the network one more time? Let's see, we know this terminating resistor is good. We know that one up there is good. We do. That is still plugged in. Let's go look at the diagram again. So we're back at the back of the truck. This is connector C408. This is the one that's very common. I think we did a video repairing one of these ones, big connector, 20 pinner. But in that video, that one was hanging down, got damaged. Since then, I've done some of these where these get all rotted out. Usually you unhook this sucker and you dump the water out of it. I mean, it's super common. That's why I'm kind of surprised to see that, well, that we haven't found the answer. From here, let's make some checks first, and then I'll explain why we're doing what we're doing. But we're pinned 4 and 5 and 14 and 15. It does make a loop, but you just bear with me here for a moment. Let's hook on there. Can you guys see that there? Hopefully. Where did I gotta see it? Okay, so 4. Well, here's our gray with orange. Probably right across from it. Yep, purple with orange. Okay, and then I think they're gonna be, yep, 4 and 14, and then 5 and 15. So, and this should be the harness heading up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, so it's just the first set that we come across. I should probably go grab the appropriate tool for this. I gotta get this where I can see it. Maybe we can both see it. Okay, here we go. Let's see, what are we expecting? We're expecting 120 ohms on both of these if the wiring was intact, but we know it's not. What's this one? Oh. Okay, so we got 120 ohms on 4 and 14. Keep that in mind. Next set of wires. Okay, 6,800. Okay, 6 kiloohms. Okay, 4 and 14. 4 and 14. Let's look at our diagram. It's a mess right now. And this explains some stuff. Okay, kind of. Okay, so here's where I just made the check. 4 and 14. Now that wiring, even though we're way back here by the, we're way back here on the trailer hitch. 4 and 14, plug disconnected. Wires go all the way up through trailer tow module. That was working just fine. Comes all the way over and goes to the gateway module, which we know is good. So we know that our wiring on pin 4 and 14 is good all the way to the front of the truck. All the way to the data link connector, as a matter of fact. Let me shut this damn thing off. 5 and 15, we had 6,000, whatever it was. I think we're missing a piece of paper here. Stand by. Okay, found it. It's 5 and 15. This is where we have our open, and that goes through all this crap again. Okay, so 5 and 15. Now, where can we break this down? Again, from 5 and 15, I don't believe we have this other connector because this is for narrow frame without blind spot and the bliss blind spot indicator. That other connector just makes a loop. We're not worried about any of this crap from here forward. Okay, let me set you guys down. Let me look at this, come up with something logical. We can go back to, did we go to the C212? I don't remember. This is where I should stop and write stuff down. Let me set you down. I'm wrong, this connector is important. So we're back here at C408. This guy. C327, that's up in the driver's side fender well. Let's find that, because if we can eliminate all of this wiring underneath, then we can focus, is the brake in the cab, or do we have corrosion rather? We're gonna find something green and crusty, I'll tell you that, because we're not open circuited. So let's leave this open. This runs forward to this connector 327. For some reason, I thought that one was back here as well, but I just looked in service info. That is up in the left fender well. Let's find that. Let's find, well, we know this connection's good on it. We know 10 and 11's good because this goes straight through and went all the way to the front. But let's find pins 3 and 4 and check network resistance from there. all the way to the front control module, because we know we got a 120 ohm resistor there. So if we check it from there forward and it's good, now we just have a problem between here and here, which is all the wiring underneath the truck. Which, like I say, I looked this thing over pretty damn good with a mirror, where the wiring goes up above the spare tire. It doesn't look like anybody's really fiddled with it much, you know. I blew some off of the blow nozzle, blew some of this off of the blow nozzle, because all of the connectors looked like that when I started. But it doesn't look like anybody fiddled, and I'm not just gonna go willy-nilly, even though I went willy-nilly, opening up connectors, or opening up harnesses and such. I looked up here above the tire with a mirror, didn't take it out because the lock's all rotted off it. Yeah, there's the lock, that's rotted off. We'd have to smack that out of there. And I was just looking for low-hanging fruit. It's my own stupid fault. Let's go under the hood and get after this thing, get some real data collected. Okay, it's gonna be one of these guys. I don't know which one. Whatever one has the right color and the right pin. Let me just grab this, even though it knocks our stuff out of order. Climb up here. Here, let's just unplug it. Battery's on hook, so it don't matter. Let's see if we can find pin numbers here. That's 1. Pin number 1, 2, 3. That's the right color. 3 is gray with orange. Gray with orange. 3 and 4. What am I checking for again? 3 and 4. Okay, right. 3 and 4. We're hoping for big money. Big money, no whammies. Man, okay, here we go. Can you guys see? Probably not. It means we're doing our job well. That harness goes that way. This one should go inside the car. 3 and 4. Show me 120. 1, 2, 3. That's pin 3. 9,000. 10,000. 10 kiloohms. Which way is that one going? That harness there. Let me just make sure which way, who's going which way. Okay, that one heads towards the back. Let me just do something here. Let me not do something. Let me verify. I don't know why I doubt myself that there can be a problem other than the wiring in the back. I gotta get out of that freaking mindset, man. Follow the damn facts, dude. 3 and 4. Why do they change colors here? Do they change colors? They just freaking faded. There's that. Let me just see. I think they're just faded or something. Yeah, you know, the purples look pink. I'm talking to a half blind guy too. This wiring, this goes into the cab. Everything's plugged in there. We follow the facts, Eric. Just stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 8,000 ohms this time. It was 10,000. In theory, if I'm correct, when I check, so we left that connector unplugged in the back. So if I check this, this should be open circuited. 1, 2, 3. That's number 3. That's number 4. Should be open circuit. OL. Yep, OL. Let me go back there and plug that in. You guys stay right here. I'm gonna go plug that in. All right, that's plugged back in. Now what do we got? 120 this way. 1, 2, 3. Because that makes a big loop around back there. Oh no, because that's going to loop like this. Yep. Oh, okay. Yep. Nope. Okay. And then this one here should also be very low resistance across these two, because that's just a big loop back there. This pin and that pin should also be low resistance. Nope. Here. Okay, 0.5. Okay. Okay. Our problem is in the cab, or from here forward. Right? Let's see. Sorry to drag you guys through the mud with me here. Just sometimes I need to bring you along for accountability. 2, 3, 4. Just make damn sure that we have the right everything. Colors are right. Everything looks right. Pin 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so 6,000 ohms. All right, well that runs down. Do we see anything obvious out here? Lots of white salt. You guys see all that salt down there? This is all salt right here. Right here. You can scrape it off, you pull it off big chunks. Go put that on your steak if you want. Don't they do it like this? Put that on your steak and cook it. Okay. What's our next step, dude? Well, let's go look at the diagram again. I definitely am not the right guy to give you a electronics lesson or networking lesson, but here's where we're at. We're at this connector 327. This is the one that's at the back of the truck. All right. When we checked our wiring back of the truck, this side was good. You know, this side went to that gateway module, so this side of that connector was good. We came down to this side, it wasn't good. So then we said, well, how do we know it's not all that wiring underneath the truck? That's when we were smart enough to come here, and it's still not good going this direction. So we really don't care about this wiring under the truck at this moment. We just don't care about it because our problem is from there forward. Okay, so we can get rid of that. This is all we're looking at now. Let's scoop these up so we don't get confused. Flip them over. Confusing myself mostly. Here's the thing. We come in and on a trunk and branch system, a lot of splices, man. This module works. So that's something that we need to put in our minds. This module works, this one doesn't, and these two don't. So if our wires come in, they splice off over to here, I can only assume our network is good up until that point, at least good enough that we can talk to that driver door module. Okay. So then where else? We come down here and we split. So after this S30 331 and S330 splice, they come down and go to this branch, which splices here, goes to this branch, and goes to a lot of stuff that we don't have. Now we have to keep that in mind because I don't know if these connectors are there and just not used. A C3052, a C3312, and I wonder if any of those connectors are accessible, although not used. Power running board module, radio trans, I don't believe it has this radio transceiver module. That may be in the headliner. But that may be my next step, is to see, you know, do we have, or we can look on this diagram, 1410, to see where this goes. And are any of these connectors accessible? You know, are they just laying, it can't be just a connector laying underwater, because that's going to affect our whole network, I would imagine. We're looking at, I think we're looking at corrosion. We're looking at corrosion past these two splices. If I were to just use logic, because our network's good here, our network's good, I'm sorry. Yeah, here, our network's good there, but it seems to be from this splice out is where the network's bad. And I'm not going to tear the door apart. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth tearing the door apart to get to C510, which is going to be in the door. If I'm just thinking out loud here, that would be the only thing that's logical. After this splice, everything after this splice, or after this splice, one of the two. You know, it may be good up until this point. If we could find this connector or that connector, that would tell us if the vehicle's equipped with them. I don't know if Ford is advocate of just having the same harness, leaving the connectors unused. We see that on other makes and models. You know, regardless of the trim level, this is just the cheapo, the old XL, the work truck. So no fancy stuff. But let me determine what I want to do. Let me see where these splices are. You know, perhaps, you know, are they sitting underwater here? Lots of gravel and junk in here, easily could get chafed. The orange tape, or this green tape, is that factory? I don't know. Yeah, it's going that way. It probably is. But it is kind of sus here because, like I say, it's underwater with lots of gravel and dirt. So let me see what I want to do next. I've got that meter hooked back under the hood, and I did some looking. The only other connector that is sensible to make the next test from is a very difficult location to get to. Right now I'm at 5,900 ohms and climbing, but I decided let's address the elephant in the room here. This harness sitting underwater, and I'm just looking at the resistance value here as I'm wiggling, and it's freaking out, man. Come on, dude. Usually I can sniff a broken wire out a mile away. Of course, we're wiggling it. It's going all over the place, from 6,000, 5,000, 7,000. It's just going kind of nuts, but at the end of the day, I'm moving it everywhere. Now I'll let it sit and settle here, and I'm just going to continue to do this, is just manipulate this harness and watch the meter and see if I can isolate a change here somewhere. So it may open up a little bit of this tape, and then I don't know how many network wires run through here that are the same color. You know, that's what we have to be cautious of. You know, we don't want to just go yanking on them. I'm going to let this kind of steady out, see if I can hold this harness still in one spot and kind of move it here and see if I can isolate which direction. That comes in the cab up here. Probably moving it out there as well. I mean, I really want to find it here laying underwater, if I'm being honest. But anyhow, I'm going to turn the camera off while I do that, but know that that's what I'm doing here, is just kind of going through and manipulating this harness. Here's some network wires that are the same color, but like I say, this network goes every direction. But we're definitely getting some strange readings here. Heads up under the seat. Big connector there under this driver's seat. And I'm just going to try to follow this along and just try to look for our clues, because we've narrowed it down to the point where we just need to find the bad wire now. There are so many pokes and rubs and dents and bends. My meter does go pretty crazy through here. This is the only thing that's logical. It's the only part of the harness that makes sense. It's, you know, like I say, it's sitting underwater, sitting in gravel. You know, it's sitting in this trough. This is our network wire. This is a set of network wires. Let me just see, because all of our splices are right behind this, and I don't want to tear into that to get to the splices, because there are 4 or 5 network splices, or at least 3 or 4, and I don't think they're identified, and I don't want to get in there and start cutting them. So this is our network. Oh, holy frickin' lawyer. Boom. Oh, man. No way, is that it? That can't be the only one. Oh, don't be yanking out your teeth. Don't be an idiot. Go get some tools, man. This wire is just rock hard. That's all green and nasty there. Hopefully this isn't just a red herring. This is definitely a low speed can. Definitely is corroded, because you saw we just picked it apart there. Boom, 127 ohms. Big yeah, man. Oh gosh, idiot. All right. Wow. For some reason, there's an excessive amount of can wire. Like there was like a loop sticking out here out of the tape. It was looped like this. I don't know if you guys can see up here, but it was kind of looped. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. It's hanging out, you know, like that. Kind of wants to lay. I opened it up back here initially and was pulling, but nothing was happening. So, well, it gives us plenty of wire to fix it with. That's kind of handy. But as far as the rest of this harness, I mean, there are so many wires that are just like dented and stuff, you know, from sitting in the you know, with the gravel, you know, the constant getting in and out of this truck. Shoot, I don't know where the drains are, how this thing's supposed to drain the cab. All it takes is one little frickin' poke, dude. Oh gosh, okay. Let me go get something. Okay. This is why you gotta stick to your plan, dude. That's all you gotta do. Stick to the plan. Oh, she's rubbed through there as well. Plan to work, work to plan. First time I've ever fixed one of these that was not underneath the truck. Let's see, our batteries unhooked, it don't matter. Yeah, first time in my life. Have I fixed wires in the door sills before? Absolutely. On this vehicle with these problems, not yet. We may have to use a crimp and seal connector. I was going to solder them, but wire's looking pretty sketch. That one's good. The other one is not. It may not solder. Pretty unlikely. Pretty unlikely. We're going to try it anyway. We'll give it the old college try. All I have is some 60-40 flux core. We'll give her the old mechanical twist here. Da, 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 da. Maybe enough flux in the solder to get her to go, but not looking that way. Oh, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Let's just double check that to be sure. If you don't have flux, use the flux in the solder, right? Knock that out of our harness. Let's give her the old test. We forgot to bring a heater with us. We'll go get one. However, I doubt it's going to be the last time that this area of the vehicle gets visited. Usually these town trucks don't last very long. (2019). So she is just about ready to get laid to rest. Alright, that one's soldered up nicely. That copper is nice and clean. I guess at the end of the day it needs a harness, right? Isn't that what they say? Let me go get a torch, heat shrink that down, we'll get a blow nozzle, I'll just blow this thing off, we'll tape her up good, stuff her back down in the water hole, and because this ain't gonna be the last water hole, trust me folks. I'll see if I can find a drain hole or something here why it's not draining. But the water's not what got it. It's the grit and the gravel and the dirt and all the shit that gets in there and, you know, eventually chafed a hole. But what that's a pretty piss poor tape that they use this this green stuff here. It's real plasticky, but I can see it continues to go back. So I mean, we'll tape it here. This is probably the highest foot trafficked area, but there's no stopping it, man. What you got to stop is the nonsense that these vehicles come with. That 99% of this is completely unnecessary, you know, especially when we're looking at just, you know, these companies just need a work truck, man. This thing needs a cable operated HVAC. It doesn't need, you know, 4 computers to turn the damn heat on. But that's where we live in. All right, we'll wait for that mess to cool down. 120 ohms. Now if we go back here, if we go back under the hood, and if we do what we gotta do here. This is unplugged. Let me back probe that, plug it in. We should see 60 ohms. This is actually gonna be easier to do here. Plus I didn't have my light out there. Turn this thing back on. It was pin 1 and 2 in here. Let me set you down, I'll probe those, and we should see total network resistance now of 60 ohms. So pin 1 and pin 2. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Just like that, easy peasy folks. Well, quite honestly folks, at the end of the day, it really is that easy, we'll say. What do I want to say about this? Well, I'm waiting for this to, well, that's all good. I plugged that control module, put the cover back on that. We know our network total resistance good. We know our physical layer is good now. Hopefully if all the modules work, everything will go up and down. I've got a few things here I put together. I need to hose this, try to stick this outside, hose some of the dirt and crap off it before I tape it up. That way I'm not taping gravel and grit in there. I'm not going to tear this whole truck apart and scrutinize every single wire. You're out of your mind if you're even thinking that. I realize I'm not the best to give you guys wiring, electrical advice, anything like that, particularly when it comes to data networks. I'm probably the least educated person you'll meet when it comes to that, although I've been to several networking classes. And if I don't mean, I got no static with anybody that gives the classes. I've been to the best of the best. I've been to Keith Perkins, I've been to Bernie Thompson's, yeah, totally blanking out right now. John Thornton's. I've been to at least 3 different networking classes. Those are the top instructors in the world, if I had to put a label on it, in my opinion, or at least the most popular, most famous. And every network issue I've ever fixed, short of just a module that's junk and, you know, taking out an entire data network, has been learning how to identify and fix problems in the physical layer. Never once in my life have I had to use a CAN serial decoder to figure out the ones and zeros. I've never had to know the exact identifying bit in the CAN message to know whether, you know, it's starting to, you know, transmit or receive. You know, there's a lot of CAN classes or networking classes really like to promote that, you know, right down to the bit, you know, the bits per second on a, you know, I can just look that up. Oh yeah, it's CAN-I, you know, it's a 500 bit per second. Have I ever needed to know that? And has it ever helped me fix a car ever in my life? It hasn't. Have other people had to use it? Oh, I'm sure daily. You know, they're serial decoders and, you know, they're figuring this out. And I'm not saying that to be, you know, facetious or anything, but I do have friends in this industry who have fixed some bizarre, you know, far beyond the, you know, the simple crap we do, and have utilized that portion of it. But, you know, I never have. And I think it's because our environment usually has problems like this. You know, we're working on cars that are usually less than 10 years old, because after that they're junk. And then generally speaking, I'm working on fixing the physical layer, the tangible portion of the network, the wiring, the connectors. And again, I believe that's just because geographically where I'm located. Is that stuff that they teach, you know, unnecessary and silly and just to hype up a class? Not really. But I will say this, if a guy doesn't have a handle on just a regular logical analytic thought process to break down a system, to look at a diagram and say, okay, you know, it goes here and here and here and these connectors and you know, where are terminating resistors and how can we identify, A, is it a bad module, or B, is it a bad wiring, corrosion, then that person doesn't really need to know how many bits per second is in a medium speed CAN bus on a Ford truck. You know, I guess what I'm getting at is educate yourself in that. And I wish I was a better teacher than I am. But educate yourself in that. Learn how to, you know, take your time with that diagram and look at it. And if that's your struggle point, don't go to a stupid CAN class. Go to, you know, a fundamentals class of, you know, electrical theory and operation and wire diagram class. And how do I look at this? And how do I figure this out? You know, Keith Perkins over L1 Auto Diagnostics has tons of that stuff, you know, and he offers classes. Matter of fact, he's teaching a networking class coming up at the TST big event. So anyhow, that's enough rambling. This is plenty cooled down. I'm going to start getting some stuff plugged back in. I'm going to get this cleaned off, going to get this retaped, see if I can't drain the water out of here, or at least shop vac it out and, you know, suck up some of the dirt and the grit. And it's just going to get back in there here. Winter's far from over. And we'll see how everything works when we're done here. Almost left you guys hanging. I was getting ready to go home. I was like, you better get back in there. Tell the people that it worked. Everything's buttoned up. All put back together. Got the key cut on. I think we're still going to have to fix the trailer deal here because it says trailer connected. But that was their original problem from a long time ago, and I think we're just going to find corrosion at that trailer connector. At the end of the day, we now have this functioning. So we have a blower motor. We have passenger side window that works now. I don't remember what else. Oh, and the headlights aren't stuck on, but they still work. So that's good. So the headlights aren't stuck on now. And that's it. So I'll figure out what the deal is, see if they want me to go through and check out, you know, this trailer business here. We'll see what's going on. Well, you know what? Let's just go and take a quick peek here. I didn't get too far off in the weeds with that. Oh, some, oh yeah. I think we're done. Bunch of green frickin' sludge shorted right across there. So that's it. Just wanna, never mind. So that's it, folks. Easy peasy, all fixed up. Well, I'll take care of that, you know, that 7-pole RB style connector back there in the morning, as long as the back side of it's not all, you know, corroded and crappy where it plugs into the actual truck harness. But looking inside there, you can see the old green soup in there. Chances are we'll blow all the junk out of it and it'll stop doing this trailer connected business and all that, you know, just shorten the ground or whatever it's doing, doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I'll try not to forget you guys on the next video and keep it real, and hopefully this all makes sense. Sometimes I think my ignorance is bliss when it comes to car repair, because I don't look at it at the bytes and bits level. I look at it as 2 wires with 2 resistors on each end on a circuit that doesn't carry any load. And in my opinion, it's one of the easier circuits on a car to fix because we have known values on both ends of it. And, you know, we have good wire diagrams to break it down. So it's, I don't want to say it's not complicated and act, you know, all cocky or anything, but at the end of the day, dude, it's just 2 wires. It's just 2 wires. That's all there is to it. At least on this network it was. So anyways, why don't you guys network with each other in that comment section? Find us on the Insta, the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.